At 6
That
o'clock.
one's there,
anyway.
6 o'clock.
Any comments from the public? Mr. Warren, do you have anything to share?
No.
Okay, then let's adjourn to closed session. 7. Great hope we have no student reps. Let me fix my microphone. Can you hear me now? Is that better? I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Connexo.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Next. I know you're happy. I'd like to report out from closed session. We have a few appointments. Appointment of elementary high school principal, Jenna Handel. A motion was made by Mr. Freitas, a second by Mr. Nava, and Jenna was approved to begin her role as an elementary high school principal for calendar year 23-24 with a vote of 7-0. Congratulations. Appointment of high school assistant principal for James Schuler. Mr. Freitas motioned, Mr. Connect said second, and the board approved to start at a later date as assistant principal, 7-0. Congratulations. Appointment of associate superintendent, Dr. Robert Saleh. Mr. Nava motioned, Mr. Neely second, and the board approved 7-0 for Dr. Saleh as associate superintendent to start at a date to be determined later. Congratulations, Dr. Saleh. Moving on, appointment of Area Director Student Services SELPA for Mr. Warren. Mr. Freitas motioned, Mr. Heberly second, and the board approved 7-0 for Mr. Warren as Area Director Student Services in SELPA for a date to start later. Congratulations, Mr. Warren. Appointment of Director of Education, Susan Peterson. Mr. Nava motioned, Mr. Heberly second. The board approved 7-0 for Mrs. Peterson as Director of Education at a date to start, I can't even read that correctly, start date to be determined. Does that sound better? Congratulations, Susan. Student Matters, non-public school placement new. Mr. Neely motioned, Mr. Nava second, and the board approved student number 57. And that is all I have from closed session. We have a couple, thank you, appreciate it. We have a couple of proclamations to read. We're going to start with school lunch week, October 10th through the 14th. Mr. Freitas?
Absolutely. Ms. Rossmilli, join me at the podium. You know, proclamations is one of the best things that we absolutely positively do. So, President McFarland, before the Board of Education of the Lodi Unified School District, County of San Joaquin, State of California, this proclamation of National School Lunch Week, October 10th through the 14th, 2022. Whereas, since 1946, the National School Lunch Program has provided nutritionally balanced, low-cost or no-cost lunches in the nation's schools, improving our children's health and well-being. And whereas the theme for the 2022 National Celebration of Peace, Love, and School Lunches is our theme for 2022. Whereas the Lodi Unified School District Board of Education recognizes that children who are provided breakfast and lunch daily are better prepared to be successful in the classroom, and whereas Lodi Unified School District's Nutritional Service Department works with local, state, and federal agencies to follow health and safety guidelines, is successful in seeking and receiving numerous grant awards and opportunities, and continues to provide school meals that meet the highest possible standards for nutritional quality and appeal. And whereas the Lodi Unified School District Board of Education continues to recognize and take great pleasure in commending the dedicated food service professionals and administrators who accept and meet the daily challenge of supporting education by providing healthy school meals to the students of the district. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lodi Unified Board of Education hereby proclaims the week of October 10th through 14th, 2022 as National School Lunch Week and encourages all residents to become aware and concerned about their children's and their own nutritional habits in hopes of achieving a more healthful citizenry, well, there's a new word, for today and the future. Proclaimed this 4th day of October 2022, Susan McFarland, President of the Board of Education. And I have to also add, I've been doing this for a while. This has to be the best logo I've ever seen on a proclamation for the theme, which is peace, love, and school lunches. So congratulations.
I would just like to say thank you all very much, and as Dr. Solly pointed out, the celebration is the 10th and the 14th when kids are not in school. So as a result of that, we do celebrate this the week we return from school, and I invite you all to wear your flower power and participate with your bell bottoms and your headbands from back in the day and come join us for school lunch. So it'll be very fun, but thank you all very much.
Congratulations. Next up, our week of the school administrator, October 9th to the 15th. Mr. Conexon. I believe Mr. Warren will be joining you. I hope you have a speech, Mr. Warren.
Okay, this is the week of the school administrator, whereas the title school administrator is a broad term used to define many education leadership positions, and whereas providing quality service for student success is paramount for the profession, and whereas the average administrator has served in public education for more than a decade, most of California's superintendents have served in education for more than 20 years. Such experience is beneficial in their work to effectively and efficiently lead public education and improve student achievement. And whereas the state of California has declared the second full week of October as the week of the school administrator in Education Code 44015.5. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lodi Unified School Board of Education joins the state of California in celebrating October 9 through 15, 2022 as the week of the school administrator by taking this opportunity to acknowledge the hard work of Lodi USD administrators as we continue to recognize, encourage, and support those who have a positive impact on our students and the educational system in the Lodi Unified School District. We, as members of the Lodi Unified School District Board of Education, do hereby proclaim the week of October 9 through the 15th, 2022 as Week of the School Administrator. It's signed today by Board President Susan McFarland. There you go. This is a big deal. Okay. Thank you. Got it?
Thank you. Congratulations on the school
Here's my
administrator.
speech. I just want to say thank you.
Excellent job, Mr. Warren.
Best speech I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Very direct. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Young. Like I just said. We're moving on to public hearing. I declare open the LPPA reopens for a successor agreement. Mr. Young, any?
Before you is the Sunshine
Got
LPPA
it.
successor agreement.
Thank you. Any board comments? Any public comments? We're now declaring that public hearing closed. Moving on to Dr. Washer.
Thank you, President McFarland, members of the board. Would like to thank and congratulate student Lucas Goulart from Lodi High School. Lodi High student Lucas is the recipient of the 2022 33rd Annual Action on Behalf of Children, better known as the ABC Award, in the category of Kids Helping Kids for his work in increasing awareness about suicide prevention and mental health. His accolades include organizing 2 suicide prevention walks. Lucas was nominated by staff at Lodi High School for the impact he has made on his peers and for strengthening the community. So we thank and congratulate Lucas for his work. Also want to share some information about school site budgets. It was brought up at the end of the last school board meeting. Just want to make sure board understands that we did increase school budgets for this year, and it will more than accommodate the $300 per teacher allocation that was mentioned, and we will make sure that principals get messages out to their staff that that is available should they want to utilize it. And Mr. Young has information to share.
We moved from ABC to ELOP, and as you recall, ELOP was a big undertaking that needed to take place over 210 days. Well, board, you should be proud of the work that your team, Jose Maciel and his administrators and teachers and paraeducators and community-based organizations. This week, we have intercession taking place at 6 of our school sites, and it is a wonderful gift. The parents are excited that we have programs open, and those 700 plus students are enjoying time, having targeted instruction in math, reading, working on phonemic awareness for those littles who need to learn how to read. And that is a wonderful thing happening even now while we're on a 2-week break. You should also know that we had 30 teachers participated at the county in EL Institute for Teachers, which is continuing to grow in the knowledge and understanding of how to support our English learners. We also, that's a 3-day EL Institute. We also had 8 assistant principals at the high school level who participated in a 1-day training, and you should know of the 30 teachers and the 8 APs, this is supporting our designated English language development and our EL students. One final note, our students in special education at the high school level, right now we have an amazing workshop going on. It's a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, our own Nutrition Services Department, and community, not organizations, but businesses throughout, giving our students opportunities to have job skills, learning how to interview for jobs, getting opportunities, and it is quite an undertaking, and Lisa Schaub and her entire group is doing an amazing job supporting our students with special ed at the older levels. So, thank you. I have nothing else to share at
I have
this
a
time.
question, Neil, where are the 6 sites on the intersection?
Oh, you had to ask me a question that I don't have in front of me.
Oh,
Mr. Nava, you stumped me, and I will get that information to
thank you,
you,
sir.
okay?
Appreciate it.
Could have just named us.
Well, you told me I was on a short string last board meeting, so I wanted to be upfront about that.
I actually wanted him to name all the teachers that went.
And the 700 students as well?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Young, and thank you, Dr. Rusher. Moving on to comments from the public. We have 7, so we're going to do our best to get through all of these. I'll read our little, I'm going to give you the shortened version of the timer. Solid green, 1 to 2 minutes. You have left. Flashing green means you have 1 minute left. Orange means you have 30 seconds left. Red and beeping means time's up. The 20-minute time period has been set aside for the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker shall limit his or her comments to 3 minutes. The board cannot engage in dialogue about public comments because of restrictions placed by the California Brown Act. Boy, I'm having a hard time talking tonight. I apologize. First up is Mrs. Heberly. And then next on deck would be Lana Gentry, and it looks like Angela Astra. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mine isn't going to be a very positive topic. Probably you're aware that California has not been doing a very good job in relationship to its students, from locking them out of schools to having people in policies that have encouraged children to be poisoned, and that we in California also have a very high crime rate, that we have not provided a great environment for our kids. That being said, I'm going to personally do this, is that so recently I had to hold a parent who was sobbing in my arms because their child had died. And our policies and practices have got to stop. That we have allowed this to happen to children all across our country. We cannot elect people or have policies that negatively impact children. It's not okay. Shaky. We cannot have organizations that do not support children and that are not in their best interest. We have to take back those organizations and make them so that they do not promote policies that hurt children or elect officials who endorse policies that help children. And I call upon the teachers, the good, hardworking, responsible teachers who love children, to take back CTA, the California Teachers Association. And if you think that I'm just making that up, you can look at their website and look at their policies and the individuals that they've endorsed that are absolutely not for our children. And I, for one, am tired of hearing about children being killed, children being poisoned, and children being trafficked, and children being abused. And it's got to stop. And we cannot, especially teachers, we cannot let our organizations have any other mission, even though their most important mission, of course, is to take care of teachers, but they cannot become the enemy of our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Donna Gentry, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Washer, Mrs. McFarland, and the school board. June 7th, I came here to let you know about the terrible conditions of the Bear Creek restrooms. And it was quite clear, a directive was given to the district to fix the restrooms. Nothing changed, nothing. I don't want it to roll back on our plant supervisor. We were doing summer school. I went there, I counted everything. We still have all the broken stalls, the doors that don't close, the sinks that don't work, the lack of soap dispensers, paper towels, and there are not, I don't know what you call them, the containers in the stalls for feminine products, in a couple of them. So I just find it, I don't even know the word for it, it's just disgusting that our students are doing that. And it was quite explicit. Many of you felt very strongly about that, and nothing happened. And so with this extra district money, I'd like to see something happen. Who knows what the boys' restroom looks like or any of the others, but I'm checking the girls. All right. Where's my green light? Am I still okay?
Keep going. It
Okay.
didn't come on, so.
All right.
We will be on.
We lost a lot of teachers at Bear Creek High School, and we lost 4 English teachers. We have been unable to recruit enough teachers to fill all of our positions. 22 of our teachers, and we have less than 100 now, are working 120%. We don't have enough subs, so every day when we open up our email, we have an email from one of our secretaries telling us who needs to have a sub, which falls on the rest of us to be always subbing on our prep to cover. And we are not going to be able to recruit more teachers. Well, I'd like us to. Bear Creek's awesome, but our health benefits are going to be a problem. I know someone who interviewed and was offered a position in administration at the school district and turned it down and went to another one when she found out about the health benefits, but that's for the administrative union to talk about. And then recruit and retain. My health insurance benefits went up 38% to $1,500 per month. I'm a single parent with twin 19-year-olds wondering how the heck I'm going to be paying for college or my bills. That is $18,000 a year. I just took a pay cut. I'm earning less and less money. The same plan with Stockton Unified is only $500 a month. A family of 5 in Elk Grove only pays $400 a month. And me with 2 kids, $18,000 a year. I've been with Lodi Unified since I was 5 years old, and I enrolled in Irma B. Reese, and then to Woodbridge Middle, which it no longer is, and Lodi High, to college, to back to teaching here. I love Lodi Unified, I love Bear Creek High School. But this was the first time that I literally looked at, I maybe can't stay here. I can't afford that. It's just, you can't keep teachers. $18,000 is just, it's just disgusting. How can we afford that? So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Angela, and then Darcy Gonzalez and Aaron Smith will be after that.
Can I hand these out to you guys?
After you can give them to
Okay.
Mr. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Angela Estrap. Good evening, board and superintendent. I'm a mom of a senior at Bear Creek High School. This is my last child. All 3 of my children have gone all the way from kindergarten through high school at Bear Creek and Lodi Unified. I'm here tonight to bring a big problem to your attention, because I'm sure you guys aren't aware of it, but the Bear Creek varsity girls soccer coach has been discriminating against students for the 3+ years he's been the varsity coach. And what I mean by that is last year at the first day of soccer tryouts, while the girls were stretching, they hadn't run, they hadn't touched a ball, they hadn't had a drill done to them. The coach proceeded to look at his JV coach and told the JV coach, I already have my team picked. That's discrimination. It would be different if we were at St. Mary's. Hats off, no problems. This is a public school. That is not an acceptable thing. I wrote a letter to Mrs. Altai. I told her about the problem. She said, I was the first person to make bring it up. So I said, fine, but I want you to be aware when other things hit the fan that this was not your first opportunity to take care of the problem. So again, everything was fine. My daughter made the JV team, which she was thrilled about and happy. That was her 3rd year playing JV, no problem. She was actually did not want to play for that coach. So she was happy. But she has a friend who does play for that coach and said, I'll get you on the team. Let me just talk to Jose, and by Friday you'll be on the varsity team. And she said, please don't do that. I don't want that. So again, who's picking this team? Is it the girls who are influencing the coach, or is it the coach? Because he already had the teams picked anyways. We let it go. She played. She had a fabulous year. This year, she had the same girl in her first period class, and she said, Jose's still going to be the coach. And Annika said, awesome. And she said, oh, and he already has his team picked. This is the 2nd week of school. So per your guys' own policy, 6145.2, he is discriminated against students that he does not know well or off-site or whatever the case is. And he needs to be held to the standard of, a discriminatory acts and improper conduct. He did not hold up his value of integrity, the ethical conduct, fairness of play, trustworthiness, fairness. So I have brought this to Mrs. Altai's attention multiple times. I talked to Mr. What's his new name? Winterholster, the JV principal, and he said they are working on it. I said,
Go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
please just talk to the JV coach. Don't take my word for it. I could just be some bitchy mom. You don't know. I realize that. So talk to the JV coach. If you need the phone number, here's the phone number. No one has still called this man to get the actual real scoop. So I'm just asking for a true investigation to be done.
Thank you very much. Next up is Darcy Gonzalez, and then Aaron Smith, and then Maria Smith, and then Karen Miller.
Okay, so,
Welcome.
good evening. My name is Darcy Gonzalez, and I'm here to talk about Bear Creek High School's head varsity coach, Jose Bernardes, and his unfair and discriminatory practices and actions.
Well, I can move closer, please. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I can't hear. Thank you.
Per your district policy, It talks about the athletic programs and how it should be free from discrimination and discriminatory practices. It also states that coaches are supposed to demonstrate good sportsmanship, ethical conduct, fair play, and abide by core values and principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, and fairness. Over the past 3 years, I have watched this coach run the soccer program against policy standards. He has had his team picked before tryouts have even started, has had previous players from the previous seasons help in picking his girls, or he is simply picking girls based upon who he knows and not how well they play. Last year, my daughter was exposed to COVID inside the classroom. Per district policy from Mrs. Harold, she was not able to go to tryouts. I had contacted Mrs. Harold and talked to her, and we also had contacted Mrs. Outside. And we were told that she would have a tryout when she returned the next week to thing. No tryout was ever, and she was automatically placed on the JV team from this coach. No tryout equals discrimination. So Lodi Unified School District has an employee, Jose Granados, that has denied my daughter of her fair and equal rights and opportunities to try out. In talking with the Secretary of Secondary Education, Desiree Wise, she made a statement to me about Lodi Unified School District high school sports being very much political, and that she tells the kids that if they want to be on a team, that they need to prove themselves. Being political means that it's more about the coaches, not about the athletes or the students. Why do we even have a sports program if that's the case? How is any other athlete ever to have a fair and equal opportunity if the coach is not abiding by the policies set forth by the district? As part of the JV coaching staff last year, myself, I brought these issues up to Mrs. Outside. I talked to the vice principal, Mr. Shipley, which is no longer there, and also talked to Dr. Dorsey this year, who they are all not holding Jose accountable for his discriminatory conduct, as I have witnessed these common practices at Bear Creek personally. I am not only speaking out for my daughter alone, but for every other soccer athlete, past and present, so that they are able to get a fair and equal opportunity. If Jose continues to coach there, we may, oh my goodness, if coach, there'll be many more girls not being able to get that fair and equal opportunity due to his unethical practices. So I would like, please explain to me why Jose is still being able to coach at Bear Creek High School. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Aaron Smith?
Yes.
Her.
Dr. Washer, President McFarland, and board members. Purposeful, dedicated, compassionate, hardworking, patient, caring. These words describe the educators that I currently work with at my school. My name is Aaron Smith, and I teach at John Muir Elementary School. It's about 3 minutes from my home, a school that my children attended, and a full circle experience, and one that I don't take for granted. When I started with the district in 2018, my health insurance was $488 a month. In September, our current rates were released. If I elect to continue with medical coverage, I will be paying $1,022 a month, a difference of $534, more than double. This school year, districts in our county are offering either free medical coverage or rates nearly half as much for the same plan. Why is this not something Lodi Unified School District can provide? You have the ability to keep us from having to make a decision to move to another district because our salary schedule and benefits aren't competitive. But the students of Lodi Unified School District first by creating an environment where the best teachers can afford to teach. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Dr. Washer, President McFarland, and board members. My name is Maria Smith, and I teach at John Muir Elementary. This is my 10th time I've spoken at a board meeting over the last 2 years. I have watched over 20 plus meetings on YouTube. I've heard you say two phrases over and over. We are transparent and we appreciate and value our teachers. Let's think about each of those statements. We are transparent. Interesting. On September 18th, we received an email from our LEA president letting us know that the district had added $700,000 by error into the benefits pool, which made our rates artificially low. We were told that our insurance would be going up 18% if we had Kaiser and 38% if we had PERS Platinum in January. Okay, mistakes happen, but where's the transparency? We have heard nothing about this issue from the district. Teachers who are retired did not get notified from the district or LEA, so they had to find out about this from word of mouth. How is that okay? How is that transparent? The next phrase, we appreciate and value our teachers. I will be respectful, but this one really makes my blood boil. Your negotiation team came to the table to negotiate our 2021-2022 contract. Yes, last year's contract. The first time, and it made an offer of basically COLA and nothing else, and then said that was their best and final offer. There were months of meetings with the LEA negotiating team who made changes, but the district's team consistently said they'd already given their best and final offer, again, which was basically COLA, money which is given to the district from the state for the teachers. It is not a raise given from money out of the district's pocket. It is a cost of living adjustment that the state gives the district because the state understands that gas, rent, daycare, food, and life gets more expensive each year. And they understand that our salaries need to be adjusted. Districts all around us are offering signing bonuses and cover all or most of all insurance costs for employees and their families. They also offer a higher pay scale with actual raises to the salary scale. Why must we beg every year for more money, whether it be COLA or an actual raise? We are expected to give our time, our money, and even our lives for our students and this district. All we are asking is that you do the right thing. Negotiate in good faith, come to the table willing to discuss and make changes, give us COLA and then add on a raise because you appreciate and value us. That's what you say. Please make it what you do. Thank you.
You didn't even get to start.
Good evening, Board. My name is Karen Minnick, and this is my 29th year in the district, all at Bear Creek High. The Board recently went to great lengths behind closed doors to assure that the new superintendent be generously given, not negotiated, given, an appropriate and fair salary package. Meanwhile, your teachers have not been given anywhere near the same consideration for compensation for their work as educated professionals. Teachers are told endlessly that the only way that the board will ever take teachers and their needs, that would be equitable salary and benefits, seriously, is if we become the squeaky wheel. The metaphor here being that something is so irritating that one is finally forced to oil or fix the problem because it's unbearable. Make some noise so they know we're serious, so they can't ignore us anymore, so they might give us what we need. Make them hear that wheel squeak. Why we, as professional organizations, play this game, I have no idea. But let's continue the metaphor. I'm here to tell you that this wheel can't squeak because we're broken. We're tired and we need to recoup on break. That's why you don't see faces here at the end of the night. The wheels have finally buckled under the weight of this burden. How did the wheels break? We're simply overloaded and in disrepair. Yeah, we've been over some pretty rough roads lately, but we're strong, we're dependable. We're covering other people's classes and having them pushed into ours. We're working over 100%, some of us, including myself, working 120% and more, to the extent of sacrificing ourselves for the rest of the cart until finally breaking under the pressure of the load and lack of support and upkeep. This board has always been concerned about how the superintendent who pulls the cart appears. Always well taken care of, we have to appear generous to the public. The board is even more concerned with what the cart looks like and its image alone, complete with the new logos. to represent it. Instead of concerning yourselves with how well or even if the cart is functioning, without the wheels, this cart goes nowhere. And that's where we are right now. That's why we're here again now. Nobody can control the roads of life we have to cross. But you, the board, can control how Lodi Unified Cart operates. And a little oil isn't going to do the trick this time. Tend to and fix the wheels that carry the load of this district because it's the right thing to do. The only thing to do to survive this current teacher shortage crisis is to put Lodi Unified's cart back on the road and maybe even in the running with other districts someday. How well it works, how well it moves forward is the only thing that matters. It's up to you to be this hero, and this squeaky wheel has spoken.
Moving on to consent agenda A. Would anyone from the board like to pull anything from consent agenda A? Anyone from the public? A1? A1. Do I have a motion from
Move to approve.
A2 through A7?
Second.
Okay, so Mr. Neely has motion, and Mr. Knapstad has second. Any board comments? Any public comments? Dr.
Hold on, let's go. Come on. We don't have comments on consent agenda. That's why it's a consent agenda. She's coming up with A1. We have to vote on consent.
Oh, yeah, vote on that. Okay, sorry.
Order the consent agenda.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second. Hold tight. I know. I'm making sure we're not, nobody else here has, no one has comments?
Consent agenda, no comment.
If it's pulled, you can comment.
If it's pulled,
It's
then
pulled.
we comment. If it's not, we don't.
Correct.
We vote on the consent agenda.
Can we call for the vote? Thank you. Consent agenda A2 through A7 passes 7-0. A1, welcome. Welcome. It's a break, okay, so we'll give everybody some grace here. Good evening, Dr. Washer. I don't know what your title is. Associate Superintendent Young, members of the board. So coming through A1, I love numbers. There's lots of excess funds. I mean, a lot, millions, okay, of money that we haven't spent, and some of it even on budgets that could go toward salaries and benefits for the hardworking staff that works for this school district. So I am hoping that we have some plans to use some of these funds, especially some of the funds for expanded learning opportunities, instead of letting them go to waste. And I'm anxiously looking forward to having some dialogue and hopefully having some forums with teachers and some of our other staff, our paraeducators, on how we can utilize these funds before we lose them. It's just heartbreaking to see that we have tens of millions of dollars that could potentially go to waste. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, I move we approve item A1.
Thank you, Mr. Noto, for the motion, Mr. Neely for the second.
I'd just like to clarify for the board, and we can certainly address this in the SBAC after, at the end of the month, but to state that these monies are available for a variety of purposes is not correct. An easy way to gauge this is if you look at all the tables on the very left, Director 3 Andrus has put the resource code. If it is higher than a 2,000 code, it is restricted money and it can't be spent any way the board wishes. So I haven't looked through these for a few days, but I believe it's mostly the last two items that are really unrestricted money. Everything else is pretty much destined to wherever the funding source wants it to be spent.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Any board comments? We have a first and a second, so I call for the vote. A1 passes 7-0. Would anyone like to pull anything from consent agenda B?
I move we approve consent agenda B.
Thank you, Mr. Nava, for the motion and Mr. Heatherly for the second. Any board comments? Public comments? Call for the vote. Motion passes consent agenda B 7-0. Moving on to other action items. OAI 1, Mr. Young.
Before you is a tentative agreement with Lodi Unified Supervisorial Group for your approval.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Young.
move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Thank you, Mr. Neely. Any board comments? Any public comments? Call for the vote. Board approves 6-1 with the opposed as Mr. Porter. Moving on to OAI 2, Mr. Young.
Yes, before you is a memorandum of understanding with LUSG as well for one-time off-salary schedule payment of $500 for your approval.
I move we approve.
Second.
Mr. Nava has motioned and Mr. Neely, or Mr. Nava motion, excuse me, Mr. Neely second. Any board comments? Any public comments? Call for the board vote. Board approves 6-1. Mr. Porter is the opposed. OAI 3.
Yes, before you is a memorandum of understanding with LPPA for a one-time off-salary schedule payment.
Move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. And the second was Mr. Heatherly. Any board comments? Any public comments? Call for the vote. Board approves 6-1. Mr. Porter is the abstain. I'm sorry, not abstain, opposed. Sorry. OAI 4.
Yes, before you is the one-time off-salary schedule payment for the confidential employees. They are a non-represented group, and that's before your approval.
Move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Is that Mr. Conexon? Any public comment? Any board comment? Call for the vote. Six, one, board approves. One opposed, Mr. Porter. OAI 5.
Yes, your other unrepresented group, your management, this is that same $500 off-schedule payment.
Move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava.
Second.
Mr. Neely has seconded. Any board comments? Any public comments? Call for the vote. Board approves 6-1. Mr. Porter opposes. Let me say abstain. I apologize. OAI 6.
Yes, before you is the memorandum of understanding with LPPA for the increase to that contribution of $528.
Move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Mr. Heatherly has seconded. Any public comment? Any board comment? Call for the vote. Board approves 7-0. OAI 7.
Yes, again, for the confidential employees, this is an increase to the annual district contribution of that same amount of $528.
Move we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Thank you, Mr. Knaxton. Public comment? Board comment? Call for the vote. Board approves 7-0. Last one, Mr. Young,
Yes.
OAI 8.
Excuse me, again, for your for your group that is not part of a represented group, your management employee, that same $528 towards health and welfare benefits.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Move approve.
Thank you, Mr. Nava.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Knackstead. Public comment. I saw you standing.
Thought I'd give you the nod. So, again, Dr. Washer, Assistant Superintendent Young, members of the board. So it's my understanding they get $528 towards their cap, but the management group doesn't really have a health cap because it goes, they want everything on their salary schedule. So basically you're adding another $528 to their salary schedule. Am I correct in that?
No. Mr. Young, would you like to answer?
That is not correct. That is only for health and welfare benefits.
But I thought that their health and welfare was on they didn't have any contributions from the district toward their health and welfare. Everything's on their salary. That was my understanding.
That is not correct.
So they do have a health care cap?
I just want to make sure we're not negotiating in any way.
I'm just trying to.
No, I know you're not. I just want to make sure.
I'm trying to get.
President Farland, I think it's best that Mrs. Lennon Wilkins meet with Mr. Khan or give him a call, and he'd be happy to explain.
Correct. And then she's free to share that publicly if she chooses after that conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you. Pardon?
And revisit us at our next meeting.
Absolutely. Board comments. Okay, OAI 8, let's call for the vote. Board approves 6-1 with 1 opposed. Mr. Porter. Moving on to personnel matters.
Madam President, routine personnel matters presented for your approval.
I move we approve personnel matters.
You try. Thank you, Mr. Nava. Do I have a second? Mr. Heberly, I think beat you, Mr. Knackstead.
Pretty good deal.
Any public comments? Any board comments? Call for the vote. Thank you for your good effort there, Mr. Young. You're no Mr. McKillian. Approved 7-0.
Madam President, I just want to make a little comment on this personnel. You had like 21 mental health people, 1 and 2. Is that pretty good?
Yes, that's very important for our students.
Yes, yeah. Because I saw 21 of them, and they're hard to get, aren't they?
They are.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Moving on to report items. Mr. Young.
Yes, before you is a revision or revisions to the board policy and rule 5144.1. This has to do with discipline, and these are updates that need to come to you for your consideration, and we would bring this back as an action item at the next board meeting.
Any board comments? Any public comments?
Let it on back. So I'm looking at the board rule 5144.1. And on the first page, it says homework during suspension when a parent guardian of a student in grades 1 through 12 who has been suspended for 2 or more school days requests homework that the student would otherwise have been assigned. The student's teacher must provide such homework. Now, I will just tell you my personal experience is if a student asks for homework or what they're going to miss, I will provide it for them. Pretty much everything that I had on my agenda has always been up on Google Classroom or whatever. But I thought that it was under Ed Code that if a student was suspended, that a teacher did not have to provide homework. And that may have changed. There's been a lot of changes to things like that. So I just wanted clarification on that.
Great. Mr. Young?
Yes, it has changed, and that is required per the Ed Code.
Thank you. Great. Thank you very much. Any additional public comments? Any board comments? Do you have enough information?
I do, and I'll bring that back as an action item next meeting.
Great, thank you, Mr. Young. Communications from public, or from representative groups.
I guess it's just me.
Come on back.
Come on back.
So good evening. This is a fast meeting. I thought it was going to be a lot longer with all the action items we had. Some of my comments is I understand that Mr. Young wants to reorganize the administrative part of the district. And I had a question on why weren't labor groups invited to participate in the interviews for some of these new administrative positions, especially since they are going to directly affect us. And so I was very disappointed. I did see the job position or postings go out. I know that I was never contacted to participate in any of these interviews. So I'm somewhat disappointed because I was hoping for more collaboration. I think if this new reorganization is going to work, all affected parties need to work together. And yeah, I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing that. 2 days before we went out on a break, the Lodi Education Group's bargaining chair was given 2 MOUs, one for the $500 payment, but the other one was for the health benefits, to extend the health benefits that we got in 2022 into 2023. And although we're grateful for that, there's a couple of issues that I have. First of all, this was given after the rates were published and the health there was done. So that doesn't give our members the ability to make the best decisions for their family regarding health benefits. Had this been given earlier, and those of us who work on the team to distribute the health cap, I think some members would have been able to make some better decisions. Rates would still have gone up, but they wouldn't have gone up quite as much. Also, you're asking us to accept this offer by November 1st. Again, 2 days before a break, and many of our members on bargaining are not in town. That's why they're not here. And so that makes it really tough for the myriad of questions we have regarding this MOU to get answers and for people to sit down and talk about what are the ramifications. Are we going to be able to go back and adjust our rates? How is this going to be done? There's just so many questions that, again, two days before a 2-week break is just not, it's not acceptable. It's not fair. It's not fair to our members. Doing it after health rates have been published, after the health fair, and of course, this is going to be after the PERS window closes for open enrollment. That closes on October 14th. So this was very concerning for my members. And I'm going to tell you, I am actually talking to members, and there are several of our members who are saying, who've been here a long time, that are saying that they can't afford to stay here, and that they will actively be looking to go to other districts where they can get a signing bonus in the thousands of dollars, not the hundreds of dollars. They can get better health care benefits, and frankly, where they feel that the district respects the work of the teacher. And that's disheartening for me. I've been teaching for 18 years. All those 18 years have been here in Lodi. It's a second career for me. And I wouldn't have stuck into the second career if it wasn't something that captured my heart and my passion. And to see these people that I know that have such huge hearts and such deep passions for what they do and for the students that they serve, to say, I can't stay here because I can't afford to support my family. is heartbreaking. So I'm hoping that on the MOU for health benefits, we get a little bit of wiggle room here so that we can meet. We've asked that we have a meeting the first week back after break. And that we can discuss some of these. We do have the mediated tentative agreement, which will be going to a vote for our members, and the timeline for voting will end on October 28th. And again, just giving us COLA when surrounding districts are doing more than just COLA tells my teachers that, and also just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not inability, it's just the desire, the lack of desire to bargain in good faith is breaking the wheels off the wagon, as Ms. Minnick said. So I'm hoping that we can turn this around, but it's going to take give and take on both sides. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional, I don't see any other employee groups. No. Okay. Board members, comments. Mr. Nava.
Yes, I'll start right off the bat. I'd like to check on the toilets at Bear Creek again, please, and hopefully we can resolve that problem. I know she mentioned the girls, but I don't know what the boys, so I hope both of them are okay. I also would like to investigate the soccer athletic part in at Bear Creek that has some complaints here. It's very crucial because of the students involved, so let's try to resolve that problem. I know we have a pecking order, athletic director, administrator in charge of athletics, then principal, and then this actually, I'm surprised it comes to the board because it should be resolved at those levels instead of coming to the Board of Education. All right. Again, thank you very much. And I also want to mention that Lodi football team had a hardship against St. Mary's this last weekend, and they're 5-1. They're still actually not leading, but they're in the hunt for championship there because they have 3 or 4 games remaining in the league. I want to acknowledge also the golf team, women's golf team. They're 12-0 in regular season play and 6-0 in the league. They have an excellent golf team, and they can't be touched during the league and any other practice matches that they have. And I want to mention that we do have, we're honored to have a member of this board that was actually elected to the district attorney of San Joaquin County. For the first time in the history of the U.S., Mr. Freitas was invited to actually Atwater to meet the president of Portugal. That is quite an honor. My gosh, the president has made his first appearance in the USA in those many years, and he had dinner with them, and that's an excellent thing for our board to have a noted person, and then of course he's the district attorney for next year, and I understand, as he was talking before the board, that he has 6 years tenure in his as district attorney instead of 4. So congratulations, Mr. Freitas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yes, Mr. Conexo.
I'm sitting right next to Mr. Nava, and he said almost exactly what I wanted to talk about.
That's why we don't call on him first.
We do need to have those restrooms double checked. And maybe this is a good time during the 2-week break to get that taken care of. And it is a concern about the ladies who were talking about the soccer coach. It's probably worth having the athletic director talk to that soccer coach, or I know Mr.
Dostie.
Who did
Dr. Dostie.
No, the new AP. Winterhalter, who was involved my footsteps as a AD at Lodi. He just joined there. He might be able to help and find out what's going on. And it is a concern, and it should be looked into at least. So President of Portugal went to Atwater? That's, okay, I did shaky. Atwater?
No, see, there's a lot of Portuguese in Gustine.
Oh, okay.
It started from Gustine, so they want to go to.
We're just trying to places we should be
That's
away.
it, so they can-
Andy threw out the first pitch at the Giants game.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
They didn't want you? They didn't want you, Mr. Freitas?
He didn't kick it.
No.
He was tempted to.
Moving on.
Thank you, Mr. Peck. Yes.
Yeah, you know, Ron, Marcelo told me he had dinner with you. I
Everybody's a comedian.
Anyway, getting on to a few things here. I just want to, I thought I should say something about this without having to bring it up.
Oh, boy.
You know, yes, we offered 5.07 because that's what the state offered. We also offered an additional 0.8 on top of that and gave each bargaining group the right to put that where they wanted. I think, are you saying, did we not do that? Are we not making adjustments to that? They haven't voted on it. They haven't voted on it yet. I mean, that's a proposal that's out there and it's written. It should be shared with everybody so that they know that. So we don't get this incorrect information. But anyway, that's it. And you know, it doesn't happen to every district. Like Merced, they gave 0.85% of COLA. And it says it on their salary schedule. It says right there. 19th, I'm sorry, 19th, yeah. So, anyway, those are the things that happened. I'll be glad when we get this wrapped up. It'll be about an increase of 12.43%, so that helps out. By the way, on the website, finally you open that up and there's a flag up there about hiring. That's good. I'm glad we got there. Now, it was a few years back that I had, when we were short mainly science teachers and special ed and math teachers, I brought up the idea of paying a bonus to those, and that was resoundingly shot down. I'd say that we ought to revisit that. Not just those teachers, but if other districts are offering it, then we should look at that as well. And I would support something like that. Also, I want to find out what went on with the sub shortage. We have schools that are still using subs lately to release teachers to take training. Well, that's a great idea when you've got the subs to do it. If you don't have the subs, enough subs, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to take teachers out of the classroom and put them into training, replace them with a sub that could be replacing a teacher that's out. So we need to take a look at that as well. And again, still on the teacher shortage, it's kind of an interesting thing. The governor signed a bill this past week to help districts fund housing for teachers. And the reason that this bill was signed is because this teacher shortage impacts the vast majority of the districts in this state. And it's a shame. It's also affecting a lot of states that have a teacher shortage as well. So we need to read that particular part right there. Part of it was taking retail space and the state being able to help fund to improve it. So things like that we can do. So we need to take a look at that. The two items, restrooms at Bear Creek and the soccer team issue. Next board meeting, we need to hear about it. We need to hear what has been looked at and what's been done. Okay? We talked about it before a long time ago. We haven't heard anything back about it. We just found out tonight that it was not done. We need to know what's going on that at the next meeting. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Mr. Porter.
Good.
You're good. Mr. Heverly.
Thank you. I do want to echo concern of the two issues that have been brought up, and like to, again, have more information on those. The additional information or comment I'd like to make is something that's endangering kids all over this country. And that's the fentanyl problem that is being disguised as certain types of candy. It's a whole different thing when it's designed to attract children. That is no longer an overdose, that's a poisoning. And CSBA has some information about that, and I think that a lot of people are just now really realizing and getting to the forefront, and we do need to educate our children. This is really coming forward strong with the medical community, law enforcement, and other first responders. And if our children don't know the strategies about taking something that is colored and shaped like candy, I think it would be very helpful if we follow along with some of the recommendations that CSBA and other agencies are putting out there, so that our children are aware what to do and what not to do. In addition to that, there's also a easier application for Narcan and a product, like it's, you know how they always change the name of drugs, but it's basically Narcan. And what Narcan does is it blocks the receptors of an opioid, and it neutralizes the effects of that overdose or poisoning. It is either an auto-injector or it's a nasal spray. And what the information I've been receiving is that it's very simple, it's very safe, and there are certain criteria. People can get trained to do it, and I'm thinking school staff obviously would be a good thing. And it's the training is extremely quick and simple, and it is a life-saving tool. So I'd like us to look into at least the nasal spray, and if let's say it's actually not an opioid, poisoning or overdose, the Narcan basically will give you a headache, but it's not gonna kill you. So I'd like us to look at both of those things, the Narcan derivative of the nasal spray for our schools, and the training that goes with it, and also information that goes to our students about the problems that we're having with the candy lookalikes that are dosed by fentanyl. And it can be that one dose is fatal. So it's not something to play with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Heberly. Mr. Freitas.
President McFarland, I'd like to thank all my colleagues for their comments, and I would join in their thoughtful words. I'd like to congratulate our three new administrators, now serving in different terms. Dr. Sally, Mr. Warren, Mrs. Peterson, wherever you are. Can't wait to see what you're going to do next. Also, on a more somber note, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If you are the victim or know somebody who's a victim of domestic violence, dial 911, get help immediately, and we are here to support you.
Thank you, Mr. Freitas.
And there's amazing organizations like Women's Center in Stockton that do amazing work helping break the cycle of domestic violence.
Thank you very much. Mr. Porter, I did come to you, didn't I? I didn't jump you. Okay.
I just want
Absolutely.
like to add something with Mr. Hebley. In the past, this might not be true, but with the fentanyl and the candy fentanyl and all that, there is no such thing as recreational drugs anymore. There just isn't. You just can't. There just is nothing. There's no such thing as recreational drugs. Don't do it.
Thank you, Dr. Connection. We're at the end. I just want to be real clear that when someone asks a question at the microphone, that puts me, as the president, uncomfortable, and we might be heading into wobbly territory regarding whether or not it's negotiations. I don't have any intention to be disrespectful to anybody at that microphone. I just want to make sure then I'm not breaking any Brown Act violations, or we as a district are not. So I'm going to refer to my people. And if somebody did not get a question answered, you are free to go back and talk to our Dr. Washer or Mr. Young. So I just want to be real clear about that. There are things that we cannot discuss that are in process. And when they're brought to the microphone, whether they're accurate or pieces of accurate information, we still cannot comment on those. So I apologize if it appears as though we are not able to answer your questions. After that, I don't have anything other than Bear Creek bathrooms. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Let's just get them fixed. It's not fair to the students. It's not fair to the staff. I don't know that they weren't fixed and this isn't happening again. There could be additional things going on. I appreciate checking into that. As far as the athletes and the soccer coach, that should be handled behind closed doors. That is not a public discussion. It's privacy for the coach and the students involved. It is also board policy. So if board policy is not being followed, I'm sure you will take care of that immediately and handle it outside of a public board meeting. Thank you. Anything else?
Will we adjourn?
Oh, Mr. Knob wants to go home, and I agree. Meeting is adjourned at 8:15. I like to put it on you though.
Yes. Yeah.